Hello there, I am Maya Joy Kana, and I am a psychic who's on a mission to help everyday people achieve true love. And in today's video, I am going to be talking about how you can follow your North Node right into divine union with your twin flame. What is your North Node? Your North Node is an astrological configuration which determines your soul mission in this lifetime. Now, your North Node is the opposite of your South Node, which indicates where you were coming from in your past lives. If you do not know your North Node already, or if you need a refresher, I am going to put a link below to a blog post with a chart that'll tell you what your North Node is, and also link to a video on how to have relationship success based on your North Node. So your North Node is representative of your highest path in this lifetime. If you want to reunite with your soul's highest partner, then you need to be aligned with your highest path. And your highest path is the path of your North Node. So this is why sometimes when it comes to North Nodes, I'm like a really broken record just telling twin flames over and over again, align with your North Node, follow your North Node. And the reason why is because what I've seen is that when people align with their North Node, they just magnetize not only their twin flame, but everybody else who is the part of their soul's highest path. However, one of the things that destroys twin flame unions and leads twin flames right into separation is getting sucked into the energy of their South Node, which again is the opposite of their North Node. So we're going to cover 8 specific things that you can do to embody your North Node energy. And the reason why I'm offering these specific tips is because people usually really struggle to align with the energy of their North Node. In fact, it's usually exactly opposite to what will feel really natural for us. So if we go with what's comfortable and what's natural, usually that will align us with our past life energy, which will be our South Node. So we have to kind of work really hard to actually align with our North Node energy, especially young people, because when we are young, our past life energy really pulls us in. And most astrologers believe that our North Node isn't fully activated until age 30. However, I recommend that we all try to follow our North Node no matter what age we so happen to be. First and foremost, actively study your North Node. It's not going to be good enough just to read a couple articles online or to watch a couple videos. You want to really strive to understand your North Node as fully as possible. Because of this, I highly recommend that you get a book or a number of books that detail exactly what you need to do to align with your North Node. The 2 books that I recommend the most highly for this are number 1, Astrology of the Soul by Jan Spiller. I think that this book costs maybe $10 or $12, and I would say that it's probably worth, in terms of the information inside, probably $1,000 at least, and probably a lot more than that, honestly. Like, the information in this book has probably changed my life more than anything else that I've ever encountered. Like, it is just amazing. This is like just a guide on how to completely fulfill your destiny in the world, so it is really invaluable. The other book I recommend highly for twin flames is Cosmic Love by Jan Spiller. This book is similar to Astrology for the Soul, except it specifically describes your North Node in the context of relationships. So it tells you, what does this North Node energy look like when it comes to your romantic relationships? So this can be really useful for that. I'm sure there's also many other great books on the North Node. Really read, really study. Don't just skim, but read to understand deeply what your North Node is. challenge yourself to identify your weakest points in terms of your North Node objectives, and then take those objectives or areas of improvement and post them somewhere that you're going to see them all the time. Make your North Node objectives like the background of your phone or your computer desktop background. Or for me, what I actually did is I made this sign. My North Node, by the way, is in Pisces. I made this sign. I went through and like underlined all the things that I really struggled with at the time that I made this of my North Node, and then I made this sign and I keep this right over my desk. So if I feel myself getting out of alignment, I'm like, okay, what do I need to focus on to align with my North Node? Oh, okay, I need to like take time to nurture an enlightened state of consciousness. I need to focus back on my vision instead of getting caught up in the details, etc., etc. So I recommend that people make something like this, either digitally or actually materially, but you want to be able to summarize your North Node objectives, and you want it somewhere where you're going to see it all the time. Break your North Node down into daily or weekly objectives. I think weekly objectives are very, very practical. When you first get a book like this and you start reading, 60 pages about what you need to do to align with your North Node, it can be really overwhelming, and you may find that, wow, I am not doing any of this, and think, how am I going to reach this? How am I going to align with my North Node destiny? So what I recommend is breaking it down into one little thing that is affiliated with your North Node that you can do on a weekly basis, so that over a year you end up making considerable progress. So my twin flame, Zaire, and I, we really make a game of this, and every Sunday we will go through like these books, or we will look for something that the other person can work on to better fulfill their North Node, and then we write them on little note cards. Here's one from a couple weeks ago, and we will like post these note cards like right next to the light switch or just right over our bed or something like that for the week, and we'll hold each other accountable for achieving the weekly objectives. So like I said, this is one that Zaire made for me a couple of weeks ago, and it says, by slowing down and doing less, Pisces North Node achieves more. So this was actually a really hard week for me when I had this North Node objective, because I usually am just rushing around all the time. And I had to consciously like really, really, really slow down and be really mindful. But ever since I had this objective, I've found it a lot easier to take things one step at a time and to go more slowly. And it's really, really helped me. So I recommend doing something like this. Ask whoever would be open to it to hold you accountable to your North Node and to tell you when you are getting sucked in the energy of your South Node. I am a real stickler for this. I feel bad, but for all my friends that are close to me, I always tell them, like, if they reach out to me, like, for help or if we're talking, I'll always be like, hey, you're in your South Node energy. Align with this North Node energy instead, and stuff like that, because I just really want to help them align with their highest path. But yeah, educate your friends and family a little bit about what your North Node objectives are, and just ask them to help you, because a lot of times when we're under stress, we'll get like sucked into that South Node energy and just lose our minds, and we need somebody to be like, whoa, you're out of alignment, you're in your South Node energy, right? And do this to align with your North Node. Incorporate the activities that are affiliated with your North Node into your daily routine, even if it's only for a short amount of time. So for example, if your North Node is in Virgo, that has a lot to do with health and taking care of your body. So if your North Node is in Virgo, challenge yourself to go on a jog every single morning, or to get exercise every single morning before you go to work. Like, build it into your routine. If your North Node is in Taurus, that one has a lot to do with spending time in nature, connecting with the natural world. So if your North Node is in Taurus, make it a habit, for example, to go on a walk in nature during your lunch break. Find a role model or a friend who naturally embodies your North Node energy. So for example, if you have your North Node in Capricorn, find a friend who is a Capricorn and who's really, really strong in that Capricorn energy, and ask them to help you become more like a Capricorn, or find a famous example of somebody who's really in that Capricorn energy, like Oprah, for example. For me, again, my North Node is in Pisces, so I look to people like Edgar Cayce as inspiration, and I always think about my Pisces friends that I know personally whenever I start to feel a little crazy in the Virgo land, right? I'm like, no, just try to be more like, I'm not going to use any names right now, but try to be more like that person, just let go and just be more Pisces, right? Actively condition new responses to old situations. In order to align with our North Node, we have to like actively go in and sort of recondition ourselves to respond in a new way. So, for example, one place where I always get sucked into my South Node is with trying to solve problems. So, it's very characteristic of a South Node in Virgo to just immediately, when they're presented with a problem, like someone tells them their problems, to try to fix it, like to try to give feedback to help the person fix it or whatever. And this has been really, really hard for me. I always want to help. I always want to fix problems, solve problems. Like I always will. If I hear a problem, it's like, oh my God, I have to do so much research, figure out the cause of the problem, and just fix it in whatever way possible. And I get really frantic. That is my old response. And so recently I've been working on conditioning a new response, which the way to solve problems for Pisces is to actually just release them to spirit, like just not do anything. And so I've made this here, this was just last week that I did this actually. So when faced with a problem, now I have this protocol. One, accept the situation as it is, accept the problem. Two, stop trying to fix it. And number three, release the problem to spirit. So now this will not work for every North Node. This is just North Node in Pisces. But you got to figure out what is the proper way for you to respond to common situations based on your North Node. And then in the areas where you often find yourself acting in accordance with your South Node instead of North Node, actively condition new responses and even visualize. Okay, so for me, it's okay, so next time I'm faced with a problem, I just imagine an imaginary problem. I imagine, for example, one of my family members calling me and just saying, oh, I have this problem. And then I just visualize myself just doing nothing. I just visualize myself saying within myself, okay, I don't need to do anything. I turn this over to spirit. This is spirit's, spirit has a plan. And I just visualize, I'll just visualize that. And then when I'm faced with a problem again, I can just take a deep breath, and I can also just consult this note card. I've literally been carrying this around with me and just posting it wherever I am for a week or so now. So it might seem silly, but this is kind of what you have to do. Condition your new responses. And finally, I recommend wearing clothing, crystals, and essential oils that are representative of the sign of your North Node. So every North Node has a color affiliated with it. Buy some clothes that are in the color of your North Node. And then every time you wear them, remind yourself, oh, okay, I'm wearing this gold top to align with my North Node in Leo, or whatever it is, right? All of the signs also have affiliated crystals, so getting one of those crystals can be helpful. Using scents or oils that are affiliated with the astrological sign you're aiming for, all those are really creative ways to help you embody the energy a little bit more. Anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this fun video, and please, 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 I know it can be hard sometimes to follow your North Node, but I hope that these tips can really, really help you, and I'm just setting the intention that we can all have fun learning to embody our North Node energy a little bit more, and that in doing so, we may all come more deeply into union with our twin flames. So thank you so much for watching, and namaste.